The following is a production of Stevenson Media.
This is the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, the president of Houston Sports Nation, Nick Stevenson.
My goodness, thank you so much. Please be seated. Let's try this one more time. My fellow Houstonians, welcome to the Houston Sports State of the podcast, Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. Press briefing. We're going to talk about our Houston Texans in week 2 before we can turn the page and get to what will hopefully be a bounce back week in week 3. Listen, the Houston Texans fell short on Monday Night Football on national television once again. And the question I'm asking you guys as Houston Texans fans, are these the same old Houston Texans? Well, that's a question that could have multiple different answers. When we say same old Houston Texans, which version of the same old Houston Texans are we talking about? Are we talking about the version that started out 0-2 2 seasons ago and ended up winning 10 games, winning their division, and going to the playoffs and winning a playoff game? Or are we talking about the same old Houston Texans that find themselves disappointing fans after high expectations once again, and midway through the season we're talking about where they're going to be drafting? My goodness, I hope not. But listen, we're going to talk about all of it. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to join me. It's been a while for the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. Recently, I've been working on a lot of other projects, but some of my time has been freed up, and now I'm ready to get back to doing this show on a more consistent basis, and I'm looking forward to it. So this will be a shorter version. We're only going to talk about the Houston Texans today. If you have an opportunity to join me, I would really love to talk to you guys in the chat. I would love an opportunity to interact with you guys again, man. I've missed doing this, and so I appreciate you hanging in there after these technical difficulties that I've had earlier. If you still can't hear me, if there are still technical difficulties, let me know. Quick sound check. All right, we're good. All right, let's talk about this Houston Texans versus Buccaneers game. For the last time, I've done 2 other Houston Texans podcasts already this week, and honestly, it's depressing me. If you guys have checked out those other shows, I thank you so much. Me and Ruben did a very emotional Twin Toros podcast after this loss, and rightfully so, man. Once again, the Houston Texans lose 20-19 on Monday Night Football to the Buccaneers, and it's a game where if you look at the score, you think, okay, the Texans put up some points. It was close, maybe a defensive struggle. The scoreboard does not reflect how this game went. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers dominated the Houston Texans, and while they didn't put up a whole lot of points, it was really a death by 1,000 cuts. They ran 72 plays to the Houston Texans' 46 plays. They rushed the ball for 169 yards to the Texans' 84 yards. And the only reason the score even looked remotely close, salute to you also, DQ, the only reason the score looked even remotely close was because the special teams was fantastic, with the returns by Jalen Noel, with the blocked punt. They're really what kept this team in the game. The offense was anemic, and while everybody is going to be pointing their fingers at the offense this week, and they're going to have the microscope on the offense next week, I cannot absolve the defense completely, especially in this game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But they didn't execute in the fourth quarter versus the Rams either. But when I say a death by 1,000 cuts, listen, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense just looked like a professional NFL offense. They maintained control of the ball. They converted. They stayed on schedule most of the time. I know the Texans got the flashy plays. They sacked Baker Mayfield 4 times. But they just fundamentally, like the simple plays, they could not make, especially in the fourth quarter. Henry To'oTo'o missing the sack that would have ended the game. An awful effort by Azeez Al-Shaair trying to bring down Bucky Irving. It wasn't good on defense either. Normally, we would point the finger at the offense and say, hey, you got to help this defense out. And to an extent, that's true. Like, the defense was on the field a lot. And so in that fourth quarter, I can imagine they were probably pretty well exhausted. But at the same time, you built this team the formula is supposed to be get the lead in the fourth quarter, hand it over to your defense, let them seal the deal. And twice now in the fourth quarter, the defense just has not played well at all. So it's really a team-wide thing, and it makes me ask the question, is this the same old Texans? And as depressing as everything about this team has been, it is early in the season. You guys know that if I am anything, I'm a chronic optimist. And so the silver lining is 2 years ago, you went 0-2. Ironically, you went into Jacksonville, where they will be headed this weekend, and that was your get-right game. So if they're the same old Houston Texans in that sense, you go into Jacksonville, your offense looks competent, and you actually win a football game this season. Then following week, you're going up against the Tennessee Titans with a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward, which you feel like you should have a decent chance of doing that. If this team ends up going 2-2 in the first 4 games of the season, playing some tough games on the road in Jacksonville and in Los Angeles, then you feel like you got a shot. You feel like you've got a real good shot at salvaging at least an opportunity to win the division. But you cannot lose either one of the next 2 games. I mean, you have the Indianapolis Colts already 2-0 with Daniel Jones. Yeah, let me know if you saw that coming, because I didn't. But yeah, the Houston Texans, there's so many issues with what we're seeing on the field. It's really hard not to point the finger at coaching. I know DeMeco Ryans is our guy. He's beloved. He's a former player, former captain. But this is the first season where eyebrows are starting to be raised at him about some of his personnel decisions as far as his staff is concerned. I am on record all offseason saying that the Houston Texans needed to get a veteran play caller, a veteran offensive coordinator, perhaps a former head coach. And I don't want to cry over spilled milk, but I'm looking like I was very accurate in that assessment. I'm not entirely sure that in hindsight, we're going to look back at the fact that in the first 3 seasons of a rookie head coach in DeMeco Ryans, he chose to have a rookie play caller, a rookie quarterback in his first season. The second year of this play caller in Bobby Slowick was not great, and so replacing him was the right thing to do, in my opinion. But replacing him with someone who's never done this before, I mean, that's what the offense looks like right now. I will give Nick Caley credit for this. The first 2 drives, which were more than likely scripted ahead of time, the Texans looked pretty good. After that first drive, I thought they were going to score 40 points with the touchdown pass to Nico Collins. But after that, it was disastrous. Brian Smith, I see you in the comments, man. He said tackling was abysmal and absolutely had never heard of a quarterback spy, apparently. Yeah. I think when you're in the team meeting, you probably are saying to yourself, hey, guys, there's this guy on the other side. His name's Baker Mayfield. He can move around a little bit. So maybe we should have somebody take a look at him. Just make sure that if he scrambles, he's at least contained. It was bad, man. Brian also says Nick Chubb is not Joe Mixon. You're not lying there. I think maybe we took Joe Mixon for granted until we've had to have several games without him, unfortunately. And there's no telling if he's even coming back. I haven't heard any updates on that, but it's entirely possible that Houston Texans do not have Joe Mixon all season long. So, it's just bad right now, man. It's a bad feeling, and it's gross, and I don't like it. And it does feel like that unfortunate term that we use, same old Texans. I hate saying that, but, man, going and doing a couple of watch parties, it's very difficult to keep a crowd hype when the Texans are not doing anything on the field. It's very hard to do, but that's the mission. When you go out and do a watch party, you want to keep the team hype and you want to give them some optimism. You want to keep the crowd hype and give them some optimism. But the Texans are making it hard, man. They're making our jobs really hard. But at the end of the day, you know me, I'm a silver lining guy. It's only 2 weeks into the season. I'm not using this as an excuse. I hate that it sounds like an excuse, but Nick Caley has only called 2 NFL games. And he's called them against two pretty decent NFL defenses. I have concerns about penalties. I have concerns about just fundamental discipline. You know, it seems like right now the defense wants to make the big play. They want to make the big shoulder hit. They want to try to jar the ball loose, but they're just not wrapping up and doing normal tackling. And that's going to be a problem because I know that the Houston Texans, this is my superstitious year, everybody, so I have to knock on wood. The Houston Texans have not lost in Jacksonville in 7 seasons. However, the Jacksonville Jaguars, if they are good for anything, they can score some points. I still don't think Trevor Lawrence is that dude. I think the Texans should have an opportunity to go in there and do what they have been doing over the past several seasons. But this is the closest thing you can get to a must-win game 3 weeks into the season. You've got to win here, and you've got to win in Nashville next week. You cannot go into Baltimore 1-3 or, heaven forbid, 0-4. So if this is the same old Texans, what's up, Stephen Harris? What's going on, brother? Thank you for joining, man, and chime in on the conversation if you will. I want to know what everyone's confidence in D'Amico Ryans is right now. I said earlier, he is our guy. This is only his 3rd season. I'm not calling for his job or anything, but right now, I think this is the first time that it's fair with this start to start raising that eyebrow and start at least asking the question, like, do we have the right combination of head coach, GM, and we can't absolve CJ Stroud any longer. I know his offensive line sucks, but I was blaming the offensive line until I went and, I have an NFL Plus membership. And I don't know if you guys know this, but if you have NFL Plus, you can go back and watch the games, and you can watch all 22 film. So as I'm watching the game live, I'm thinking to myself, in the moments where he does have time to throw, and there were some, not very many, but there were some. He was pressured 40% of the time. But that means 60% of the time he was not. And in those moments, it's like he wouldn't get rid of the ball. And I'm thinking to myself, is no one open? Like, is this offense just not well designed to get people open? And then when I started watching the all 22, I saw that there were plenty of opportunities he had to hit open guys. And I think he's just gun shy right now. CJ Stroud could possibly be accused of being overly careful with the ball. Like, would you sacrifice a couple of more interceptions if it meant you could get several more big plays out of him? And maybe it's not the big play that the Texans need out of him. Maybe they just need him to find his check down. Maybe they just need him to scramble for a couple of yards and fall down. I would listen, man. My NFL offensive knowledge goes as far as Madden 25. I haven't even bought Madden 26 yet. I am a John Madden offensive play caller. That's about as good as I can do. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know exactly what needs to be done. All I know is what I can see with the naked eye. What I can see with the naked eye is it ain't working. And let's see. In my opinion, though, we can't keep making excuses for CJ Stroud in his 3rd season. Right? Not zero pressure. Like, he can't make a play, and that is a far cry from what he was in his rookie season. In his rookie season, he was the guy who made things happen even when things fell apart. And I don't know if he's taking too many hits. I saw several people saying that the Texans are turning him into David Carr. All I know is that right now the blame goes all around. And so we're going to have to start taking a look at CJ Stroud and saying, is CJ Stroud an elite quarterback? Is CJ Stroud the guy that we're going to be able to say, hey, we're going to give you the ball, put the ball in your hands, and you're going to go win for us? So I just think that, unfortunately, we haven't answered that question yet. I don't think it's impossible. I will remind people that Josh Allen was not very good his first couple of seasons. I'm not comparing CJ Stroud to Josh Allen, but there's still time for them to get this thing right, man. But it has to happen fast. I'm reading in the comments, and Texans need to beat the Titans and the Jaguars. That's obvious. Nick Caserio's doing nothing and building the offensive line. It's so true, man. And we all wanted to praise him for addressing the offensive line, revamping it. And Brian, I'm going to try to get your graphic up. I don't know if I can throw it up. I'll give it a shot. Give me just a second. I'm going to share it to my computer. If I can't throw it up, I'll just read it. But yeah, from what I can see, you went shopping in the $5 bin at Walmart for offensive linemen, and then you expected a different result than what you're getting. The Houston Texans, probably for the third year in a row, are going to have the worst offensive line in the league. You guys let me know if I'm having technical difficulties again. It looks like I'm freezing on. I got too much going on at once. It looks like I'm freezing on my end, but I may not be. You guys let me know. Okay. Let's see. I'm looking at a text from my man Brian, and I apologize for the delay, guys. Adjusted EPA per play leaderboard. Let's see where our man CJ Stroud is at. There he is. So adjusted for pass protection, receiver drops, dropped interceptions, fumble recoveries, and interception returns, giving credit for expected yards after the catch only, and accounting for defensive faced. So right now, CJ Stroud, his EPA rating is a 22. That makes him 28th out of 34 quarterbacks. Wow, that's pretty crazy. Some of the names ahead of him are what's crazy. Like, you got Joe Flacco, Bryce Young, obviously Baker Mayfield. He looked better. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. So, right now, it feels like the sky is falling. But like I said, 2 years ago, you walked into Jacksonville, and that was your get-right game. Here's the difference, and I hate to keep being depressing, but the difference is in week 2 years ago, you got down early to the Colts versus Anthony Richardson. He scored, a couple of rushing touchdowns before he got hurt. And then the offense started to look very competent towards the end of that game, even though you lost. So going into week 3, you were thinking, hey, man, this offense isn't the problem. CJ Stroud's not the problem. We're going to get this worked out. You don't really have that feeling going into Jacksonville right now. Honestly, it's it's making me a little bit nervous. I don't know that even if they win this game, I don't know that you're going to be feeling 100% confident that the Texans can turn this thing around. It's going to take like a complete blowout. They're going to have to score 40 points, only give up 10. But I just don't see this team inspiring a whole lot of confidence in its fans right now. And that's unfortunate, but that is just simply the state of the Houston Texans. Real quick, back to the comments. Stephen Harris says the Texans defense struggled in the final minute, failing to stop the Buccaneers' game-winning drive, allowing them to reach the red zone with little time remaining. Yeah, and Steven, I brought that up earlier. That's why I can't absolve the defense. To be fair, they were on the field a long time. I brought up earlier the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ran 72 plays. The Texans ran 46. So they were probably tired, not making an excuse, but the offense did not put them in great position either. But like I said earlier, I don't know if you were here, that's what you built this team to do. Get the lead in the fourth quarter, hand it to the defense, let them seal the deal. And they haven't played well in the fourth quarter in either of these games. So right now it feels like it is the same old Houston Texans. But what you hope is you get the version of 2 years ago where the Jacksonville game is the get-right game. You You go into the Titans game where you're facing a rookie quarterback. D'Amico Ryans and this defense have feasted on rookie quarterbacks. Except for one, but I'm not going to bring that up. But yeah, I mean, right now, to me, the biggest problem, and D'Amico Ryan says it, and I hate when he says it because it's very reminiscent of a not good time with his former head coach, Gary Kubiak, but it is on him. Like, he's got to figure it out. Now, I think the Texans gave him a 6-year contract. I think he has a lot of grace with the fans because of who he is. But as I said before, this is going to be the first year that people start raising eyebrows at the combination of him, Nick Caserio, and C.J. Stroud. Because it's going to be really hard to fix this offensive line now that you have to pay Will Anderson. What are you going to pay C.J. Stroud? When are you going to pay C.J. Stroud? It's a precarious situation, and I hate to be so depressing on this Wednesday afternoon, but listen, we are going to turn the page tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll actually be doing a video previewing the Texans versus the Jags, and I'm going to find all the reasons you should be optimistic about that game. But as we lay Week 2 Monday Night Football to rest, I do want to thank you guys for joining me for this conversation. I apologize for a lot of the technical difficulties that I had earlier, and I'm a little bit rusty doing Houston Sports State of the Union, and I got a little bit of work to do to get back in the groove, man. But Brian, Steven, everybody who chimed in, man, I appreciate you guys so much. Join me tomorrow because I'm going to do a preview of the Texans and Jags. But yeah, right now the state of the Houston Texans is a little bit in shambles. There's an opportunity for that to get better, but there's no two ways around it, man. It's bad right now, but we're gonna keep our optimism. We're gonna keep repping the H. I'm gonna leave my link in the descriptions of this video once the live ends. I appreciate you guys so much for joining me. Please follow me at Houston Sports State of the Union Podcast on YouTube. I'm on X. I am on Instagram. Obviously, I'm on Facebook. Some of you may be watching this on Facebook. I also have a Twitch account. I'm trying to figure out where the best place to put this show is at, where hopefully the most eyes will get on it. And I will definitely do my part to be more consistent so you guys can continue enjoying the content that I work so hard to create. I really do work hard at this. So I do appreciate you guys joining me. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for joining this press briefing. In the meantime, you know what I want you to do. Please stay 10 toes down for the H. I love you and good night.
This has been the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast, hosted by Nick Stevenson. Tune in next week for more news and analysis of your favorite Houston teams. Please follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, the app, formerly known as Twitter, if that's even really still a thing. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.